What's up? I'm DBFig, and this is Double Jump News. The Ubisoft Forward event just completed, and they showcased a bunch of games, but to be very honest, I was not excited about 90% of them. Assassin's Creed I have some interest in, and Star Wars Outlaws was the real winner here. To be very honest, I am not a Star Wars guy, but what I've seen here has me a bit excited. It's an open world, you play a scoundrel, you go to different planets, you make factions. It seemed like everything that we wanted from Starfield in a little bit more streamlined, contained area, but also just better done than Starfield, to be extremely honest. But the graphics seem amazing. My worry is that hopefully the graphics stay steady, the frame rate stays steady. I have a pretty powerful PC, so I think I'll be able to run it pretty well, but I'm just wondering about somebody who just skirts the line on the PC front, or people who might have the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. They may run it okay-ish, but what about the people running the Series S? I don't know. Hopefully it runs beautifully. I'd rather have a game be silky smooth. I would prefer 60 frames per second, but if they have to do 30 frames per second on console and it's super detailed, I kind of understand, but I would prefer 60 frames per second for everybody. The lore is very thick, so if you're a big Star Wars nerd, there's a lot of little references and faction details and ships and the droids that actually point to the expanded universe, or what is left of the expanded universe in the Star Wars world. But more importantly, the gameplay itself is very smooth. The only complaint I had was that when you actually got into the action and you had to pull out your blaster and you're going around, the animation on the character just seemed a little stiff. I think that might be for a gameplay reason, just to make sure that when you're actually playing, you can aim well and you don't feel too loose, because sometimes animation can do that. Even if the actual reticle is steady, if the character itself, the animation, the character is like kind of sliding back and forth, that can throw people's aim off. So I'm assuming that's for gameplay reasons, but she just seemed a little stiff for somebody who's supposed to be like this cowgirl type of scoundrel person out there. But hey, it is what it is. Her little buddy, Nyx, is really interesting. In the actual extended gameplay demo, we actually see that it's more than just a helpful friend. This person actually kind of works as a scout for you. You could send Nyx to go distract the enemy or take down the enemy. You could have Nyx kind of put out a little signal, and it kind of pinpoints where everyone's location is in a short little area. So that way, if you want to go more of a stealthy route, Nyx will be there to help you out, and doesn't seem to get in the way when you're in a blasting situation as well. And looks like Nyx is going to be like that invulnerable buddy that you can send out occasionally to kind of help you out in situations, or probably there's going to be puzzles later on where you got to send Nyx to kind of like, unlock something for you. I could see a whole world of possibilities using your little buddy. The overall animation and movement looks pretty straightforward and simple. A lot of stealthing, but I noticed in the space battles, it is very actiony, very high action. So it's not going to be like you're controlling the spaceship and you got to be very detailed in the controls. It's very arcadey, which is perfectly fine. I just want to go in, have a quick space battle, and jump away and have fun. And it seems like the real meat and potatoes of this is going to be the back and forth between all the factions. There's going to be a bunch of factions that you can either help or hurt, and of course, thrown into situations where choosing one way or another is going to ruin your faction. So you can help the Hutts, or you could help the Empire or be an enemy of the Empire, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're all of a sudden part of the Rebel Alliance and you're going to meet all these Jedis and stuff. It seems like a story that even though you're probably going to meet a Jedi here and there, it's going to be a real contained story about being a scoundrel with no powers in this world. I hope it sticks that way. I don't want Nyx all of a sudden become a Jedi. I mean, unless they kind of do it like those old Star Wars games did it. But if they keep it as a scoundrel, that she's just trying to, get money, do jobs, create enemies, create friends, I think that will lead to a better storytelling and more games down the line. Kay might become the next big character in video games if this game comes all together the way that it looks. Overall, the Ubisoft Forward was kind of a bummer. I wasn't expecting much, to be extremely honest, but even now, it still was a bit of a bummer. They announced a brand new Prince of Persia, probably the remake of the first Sands of Time, but that's been in the works for how long? And this announcement was 2026, so I'm not going to get excited until sometime next year when we see more. And the rest of it honestly just felt like filler. That was about it. So other than Assassin's Creed and Star Wars, there really wasn't much here to get super excited about unless you're a fan of like one of the very specific games they covered. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thank you for being awesome.